Welcome, everyone. Humpday Pumpday is back. Your distant neighbor. We have Brian Bogert on the line. Happy Wednesday, Brian.
Happy Wednesday, and good morning to you. Good morning to all of our listeners. It's been a great week so far. Looking forward to giving a little passion, perspective, energy, direction to help people close out the week strong.
I love it. And just to remind everyone, if this is your first time tuning in, these Humpday Pumpday episodes are a highlight of my week. Basically, we jump on with Brian Bogert, local performance coach, and he helps us kind of work through some topics of motivation, get us excited for the rest of our week. And then these go live every Wednesday morning at around 5 a.m. So if you want to find Brian Bogert, he's all over the place at Bogert Brian. You can find him on Twitter, on Instagram. He's got an amazing YouTube channel with weeks and weeks worth of videos. You can find me at Jeffrey Buettner. And then you can obviously find the show, Your Distant Neighbor, on iTunes and Google Play. Please don't hesitate to subscribe and leave a review and provide any feedback. We're posting this stuff on our Facebook pages and whatnot, and I think the feedback we've gotten so far has been excellent. What do you think, Brian?
Oh, it's been great. It's really cool to see how people are responding to this, and it's fun to be a part of this project. So.
Awesome. This week we're going to talk about giving, and I know this is something that you're a big advocate of. You've really drilled into me, and I think there's a lot of benefits for individuals when they start to kind of change their mindset and lean it more towards, a giving state of mind. And so why don't we jump in and just start talking about kind of the act of giving and the thought process behind it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think Albert Einstein probably said it best, only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile. I think that really gets to the basic principle, the basic tenets of giving. And many of you who've listened to this podcast before, many of you who've kind of followed me in other venues, have heard me talk about the if and how principle. And I am a genuine believer that if we can genuinely seek to look if and how we can help other people in every capacity in our lives, that everything takes care of itself. But the biggest piece to that is if and how we can help, and we understand that basic concept. We understand how we can help someone, then we have to follow through and we actually have to give. And so I think whether it's on an individual basis, in a community basis, in business, it almost doesn't matter. I think there's this idea of giving as it's got to be some monetary thing. And I don't agree with that. I think giving is giving of all of yourself and all of your resources, your connections, your energy. Maybe it's financial, maybe it's time, right? It's giving of whatever you are capable of giving in the moment to be able to help that person, that organization accomplish the goal that they want to get. So rarely do I like to use personal stories, but I also want to demonstrate to everybody that I practice what I preach here. And I think this is one of the coolest stories of giving that I've personally been a part of. And it really was something that was important to me, but it demonstrates both time, energy, money, resources, connections, and it's kind of come full circle. So about 3 years ago, I was approached by someone who was connected with me through someone who helped me in my career about 10 years ago, helped me create some community connections, helped me create opportunities to get involved with some nonprofits. And so when I received this call saying that they wanted me to meet with someone, of course I said yes, because they had been giving to me 10 years ago, and that ripple effect and impact has really had a profound impact on my life. So I had lunch. We go to sit down, and this is a good friend of mine today, but he was starting to put together an advisory group for a nonprofit here in Phoenix, really trying to help reshape, rebrand, and re-energize the organization. And oftentimes when I get approached from a community organization, I always take an approach on two sides. One, why me? What can I do to help? How can I give? And then two, what are we trying to accomplish as this group, right? So is it just to have a name on page, or is there something tangible and direct that I can have an impact on? So about an hour and a half in, we had a conversation, and was probably one of the most strategic and thoughtful approaches from any nonprofit that I've ever had any discussions with as to why me and why he wanted me involved. And it was pretty humbling. It was a really cool experience, and it was fun to see how strategic this nonprofit development person was. Long story short, what happened at the end of the hour and a half is that I just did not have the time at that moment to be able to get involved and be able to commit to what was needed for the organization. But I believed in this person, I believed in this organization, and it was something that I really wanted to figure out how I could help. And so I actually said no, and I turned down the position, but I did say, I think I've got a couple of people who might be able to help. And the second I left that lunch, I picked up the phone and I called 5 different people, told them about it, told them that this was something they needed to be involved with, and at a minimum, they needed to have lunch with this guy because they were going to be blown away by his approach, his passion, his energy, and what he was doing single-handedly to help reshape the brand and the energy behind this organization. And Jeff, you were actually one of those people. And so what happened was I didn't really think this through myself, but what happened was that all 5 people said yes. All 5 people got involved, and then now all of a sudden I was surrounded. And so 4 months goes by, and this guy calls back to me, and I've got all my friends and connections within the community calling me and saying, Brian, you told us to get involved with this. You got to be a part of this. You need to do this. You need to do this. The reality of it is that the moral of the story here is that I was not able to give of money at the time. I was not able to give of time at the time. I didn't have any resources to give, but I had connections. And I had people that I knew were going to get passionate and hit the ground running and be a part of this organization and have an impact in a way that I just wasn't capable of doing at the moment. And each one of those people did just that. And so in a short period of time, within a year of each one of those individuals being involved, they had well in excess of a 6-figure impact on this organization. And all I did was make 5 phone calls. And so I say that because, again, I was giving of my connections, but I wasn't able to be giving of anything else. And it did have a profound impact on the organization, and I do not take credit for that. Those 5 people did that work. Those 5 people did the heavy lifting. Those 5 people then were put in a position where they did exactly what I did, but they were able to do it in a different way. They were able to give of their time, their energy, their money, and their connections in multiple cases, and those things had a huge impact. And so at first, I don't think I really understood the power of that gesture of making those 5 phone calls, and I still today don't really feel like I play much of a role in this group. But the individual who approached me to join it has told me multiple times that had I not made those 5 phone calls, these 10 things wouldn't have been accomplished for the organization. So I spent 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes, made 5 phone calls, but I wasn't in a position to be able to help, but I genuinely wanted to determine if and how I could. And so I gave up what I was able to in the moment, and that was a 5 minutes of phone calls. And so, again, I don't like to use personal examples, but that came full circle because now I'm involved in the group, and now I've actually given of time. Now I've actually given of money. Now I've actually given of resources beyond just connections. And it's been a really cool experience to be able to see how giving came full circle and the impact that it's had on the organization and the impact that it's had on a number of those individuals who've now been involved who 2-3 years later are still giving of their time, energy, resources, money, connections. And honestly, Jeff, it's just been a really, really cool experience to be a part of. But, again, it all started with giving. It all started with giving. So
great stuff.
Maybe you can give some perspective, Jeff, on what you've kind of felt as a result of that organization.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the big thing we talk about giving is giving a value, right? And so, like you said, that can come in many shapes and forms and sizes, and sometimes that's monetary and sometimes that's something else. But in every instance that I've ever volunteered or been a part of a nonprofit organization, ultimately that group, that organization provides value in itself, right? I mean, whether it's networking opportunities, whether it's opportunities for other projects or to meet other nonprofits or to provide value in the community in other ways, those groups, those nonprofits provide value back to their volunteers. And so I think that's so huge is, you're right, it doesn't have to be monetary, right? It can just be of your time. It can just be of your connections. And I'm super grateful for every volunteer opportunity that I've taken advantage of. I'm super grateful for every group that I'm a part of because I truly feel like no matter how much I give, I get more back every single day, every single week. And that sounds super cheesy, but from the connections you build to the people you meet to the inspiration that you feel walking away from some of those meetings, because it's just like-minded individuals who are being selfless and trying to provide value and do good for their community and do good for their state. And it has that ripple effect. I think that's the big thing with your 5 phone calls is it's like throwing a stone, in a body of water. It has that ripple effect, especially when the intention is right.
Yeah, I'm happy you just said that, because when you were talking there, that was exactly what my thought was, is intent, right? The intent has to be in the right place. I've seen too many times people get involved in organizations or places and the intent isn't right. They're doing it for selfish reasons. They're doing it for networking. They're doing it for the opportunities they think it's going to provide for them. And I've seen this play out time and time and time again. That doesn't ever actually return personal value. It just doesn't. If you can do it from a selfless place, if you do it for the right reasons, if you do it for helping that individual, helping that organization, doing things literally from a selfless place, I guarantee you it comes back tenfold. And it might not be right away. It might not be for a year. It might not be for 5 years. It might not be for 10 years. But every single time I've seen this take place, I have seen it come full circle for those individuals in some way that may not even be measurable. But if you're doing it from the right place, you're looking for ways to give, it will happen. Mother Teresa said it best. It does not matter how much we give. It matters how much love we put into giving, right? That gets right at the intent. You have to put the love into the giving and find the ways to do it for the right and genuine purpose. And that's one of the areas that I actually work on with the individuals I coach is you've got to focus life on a very holistic perspective, and you've got to look at it personally, professionally. But you also have to focus in what I call community, right? Service to others. You have to look for those selfless things and other daily tangible things that you can look at to be able to implement into your life to be able to create that pattern and that habit of giving from the right place. And so I've got a number of clients who their daily service, their daily focus and activity on service for others is literally to look for a random act of kindness. Right? And that random act of kindness might be something, it might be something as simple as holding an elevator when someone's running with their arms full. It might be buying the car behind you Starbucks when you drive through. It might be literally just giving someone a smile who looks like they're down, or going out of your way to ask someone how they're doing and having a right, genuine place. It might be making that one phone call that you need to make for the community organization that's going to secure a $100,000 gift, right? So it doesn't, again, Mother Teresa said it doesn't matter how much you give, it matters the love that you put into giving. And I think that's a really important point. I'm happy you said that, Jeff, because intent is everything. And if you do it from the right place, I promise you people, it will come full circle.
Great stuff, Brian. I really appreciate you stopping in again this week and kind of providing that passion and providing that energy and getting everyone pumped for the rest of the week, man.
I'm like I said, I love this opportunity, and the feedback has been phenomenal. People are responding really, really well to this format, and you and I are both getting a flood of responses, and I'm really thankful to be a part of this. Again, to me, this is a fun experience, but it all does come back to giving. Right? When we hear those responses, when we hear how people are getting the passion, energy, perspective, and direction to close out the end of their weeks, that's what's in it for me. I love to hear that this is having an impact on other people. And so just to close out strong for our listeners, I think I want to leave with a challenge, right? So if this is Humpday Pumpday, close out strong for the rest of the week. Imagine if all of our listeners were able to do one random act of kindness a day, today, tomorrow, and Friday, right? If we were all able to just take 1 second back and we were able to look at what can we do to help someone else? What random act of kindness can we implement? What can we do to move something forward with a community organization? Is there some organization that we're a part of that we're passionate about that we can make a $5 donation to? Right? And if we just took a step back and we look at all of the listeners, and you talk about the ripple effect, if the ripple effect of all of our listeners did 3 acts, whether intentional or random, that were genuine with high intent from a place of giving to close out this week, imagine the ripple effect Humpday Pumpday just had. Imagine the ripple effect that each individual that's listening to us today and has been listening to us for the prior weeks could have on this world. That would be significant. That would be significant. So listeners, please engage. If you listen through this podcast, please leave a comment on the stream, on whether it be the podcast, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, whatever venue you're actually getting this link to the podcast from, if you could just leave a comment and let us know either what random act of kindness or intentional act of kindness you intend to do, or what you've done at the end of the week, so that we can kind of measure the ripple effects of this impact. Let's test this. Let's see where this goes. And all of you, I promise it'll make you feel great. It always is rewarding. And let's just close out the week strong and go out on a front of giving.
Great stuff, Brian, and I'm excited to talk next week and see what kind of results we get.
Be incredible. Everybody have a great week.